So I was thinking of what I could do that would be productive for the viewers. As far as what is it that I know you guys really want to see? Upside down fairy in the proper dimension. Almost looks like Stonehenge in the middle of that pyramid. There's a lot of faces and just weird, interesting things about this. None of it is deliberate, none of it intentional. I have not manipulated this thing in any way, shape, or form. What you were looking at is its natural state. Hieroglyphs. Again, never manipulated in any way. This is just the way I found it. Very good at holding things. But since I've bothered showing the wand in detail and naming a live stream after it, I might as well tell the story of it. So I first got this wand in a dream. It was the most peculiar thing, having a dream in which the goddess handed me a wand and told me that I would write out my memories on this stone wall with the wand. The things that I could not remember. things that I wouldn't be able to remember in this life. And I would write them out in the dream in these hieroglyphs that went from left to right. Starting with a stick figure, which I later found out meant behold. I thought it was just a silly dream, other than the fact that the wand came from it. And it turns out those hieroglyphs really exist, and they're known as the Australian hieroglyphs, documented by Stephen and Evan Strong of ForgottenOrigins.org, who I've been in contact with, actually. Although I don't think they take me very seriously, because they probably never got around to watching the live stream or seeing the wand. But anyway, suffice to say, the next day, when I found the wand that I had seen only in the dream, and it was shaped the same way with this little hook at the end. And I could feel it in my hand, the way this spike pushed into my flesh when I squeezed it hard. But I left this in New Zealand. Did not take it with me to America when we came back. Part of me wishes I had, because it would make a whole lot more sense while I'm holding it in my hand right now. It's literally an artifact of my craziness. But here it is. Kind of hard to deny the existence of something that's right in front of you. I'm really not sure where I found it again. But I know when I gave it up after finding it again when I was about 16, giving it up again when I was 17 or 18, I left it in the last box on Jackson Square on the river in about 1998 or 99. was because my magical ability was tremendous. And I was not mature enough to handle it. And I knew this. And I wanted to basically seal myself away for a while longer. And then, many years later, after Katrina hit, and after they had taken away the boxes, taken away the trees from the boxes on the Riverwalk where I had left the wand, they had uprooted the trees themselves. They were about to demolish the whole thing. And this was still sitting exactly where I put it. Phenomenal. The AC turned off right when I said phenomenal. How's that for thunder? So after at least 5 years, Hurricane Katrina, and the trees being uprooted, this little stick stayed in the same exact place. And as I clearly demonstrated in the beginning of the video, by the close-ups that I just took of it, there's really no mistaking this particular stick for any other stick. It's a very peculiar stick. For starters, as best as I can tell from comparing to other wands, it's actually made of eucalyptus, which is consistent with this, the shape and the roundness of the twig branches on the end here. Oh look, a viewer. How are you doing, viewer? Feel free to say hello in the chats. I was trying to actually have a topic of conversation for a change. And I was considering, what is the most valuable thing I have? Depending on whether or not you believe in the value of it. And it has got to be this wand. I have reason to believe that I have at least channeled or am the reincarnation of Merlin himself because of some things that I was able to reveal about reality, and for no other reason. It's no narcissistic delusion. It's simply the fact that I know some things that connect reality in a way that most historians would uh, love to understand, but don't. And that is how I was able to see that Russia was attacking us. How I was able to see what their tactics are, and that they were in fact being used against us. Because it's the same old tricks they pull. It's just an evolved version of it. And definitely the same objectives as they always had. And from the same lands they come. And if you amalgamize Jesus the way the Christians do these days, you come up with nothing but ignorance. But if you look at the culmination of John the Baptist as Caesarion, and the teacher and prophet of Alexandria, who traveled to the east and set up colleges and schools, then you get a full understanding of history and what's been made of it. The mess, the ignorant plight of nothingness that it's become. History, what you learn so you can be considered a smart person and nothing more. There's no understanding, there's no lessons learned anymore. Oh sure, we've learned one thing from history, but have we? Don't kill the Jews. Is that it? Is that all we've really learned? And have we even learned it? Anti-Semitism is on the rise, last I checked. The way we teach history to our children, the way we teach history to each other, is ignorant. And the only cure to that ignorance has been presented on this channel and this channel alone. And it is thanks to my reincarnated memories as Merlin. So if anybody wants to say, I'm just a crazy person, the burden of proof is on you. All right. So anyways, I get tired of retelling the same old stories for such a small audience. When there should be many videos of this exact story that have already gone viral by now. But a long time ago, there was a true church, and it reigned and lived for 1,000 years. And then 1,000 years ago, it was exterminated. And that true church was the descendant of the true tribes of man and its resurrection. And all the tribes of man were resurrected through it. And so the tribes of the land of Nod that were reborn through the bastard child after the flood came to conquer those lands. And still it comes from the north parts. There's no stopping it, and there's no satisfying it. But through the redemption of all, through truth, the truth that you've all lost. The truth of their existence, the truth of my existence, the truth of existence itself. The connection between life and death that used to be nothing but a fact and has now become a mystery. Reincarnation, the source of understanding. Shunned as if it were a crutch from it, as if it were some hindrance to it. Reincarnation, the secret truth behind Christianity. Reincarnation, the reason I have my wand back. The rules of reincarnation, the reason why I don't know how to use it very well. So when I first said that I was Merlin and that I had been trapped in a tree for hundreds of years, I knew it was crazy talk, and I knew that there's no reason anybody should believe me unless I perform some sort of a magical act to make that story be known. So what I did was, at the time, and this is provable, by anyone willing to go and look at the timestamp of the first video in which I stated it back in March of 2015. The week after I stated this, the following episode on the new season of Once Upon a Time was Merlin trapped in a tree. There were no spoilers, nobody knew. And of course, as soon as I say something that logically proves my point, the broadcast fucks up. What I was saying was that on time-stamped video from when I uploaded it a week prior to anyone getting to see the first running of that episode of Once Upon a Time, in which Merlin reappeared, and he had been, guess what, trapped in a tree. And I was also referring to the fact that, well, I was Creole. And guess how Merlin looks? Well, he's one of them caramel brothers, that's for sure. So, I prophesied correctly. You can prove this to yourself if you have the time to do the due diligence. But just because you don't have the data and are aware of the facts doesn't mean that I'm the crazy one. It just means you're lazy and would rather be delusional than aware of facts. Here's the wand. There's the data. And there's all that I've prophesied correctly that proves who I am. Now, you might be somebody special yourself. You just need to open your mind up to the possibilities. Because guess what? Souls reproduce. People don't. Anyways, that's all for now, everybody. Thanks for watching. Click the like button.